Hello, this is Tanzania One Academy, and today we are going to learn economics. We are going to discuss the price system and the microeconomy. This is Unit 7, but we consider it as Unit 1 at A level. So at this unit, we are going to discuss Chapter 30, which is utility. At this utility, we have subtopics, with the first one is the utility and the diminishing marginal utility. The second one is the equi marginal principle. The third one is the derivation of an individual demand curve. And the last one is the limitation of equi marginal principle and marginal utility. So utility can be defined as the satisfaction that is obtained after the consumption of a certain good or service. So like for example, right now, if you are getting this service and then you are satisfied, then you say this service is having utility. So in utility, we have to know what is total utility, but also we need to know what is marginal utility, but also we need to know the law of diminishing marginal utility. So the total utility now can be the total combination of utility after consumption of different goods. So if you consume a certain good 1, then you add with the utility that you're getting from good 2, then you're adding from the utility that you're getting from good 3, etc. So that is just total utility. But marginal utility is the additional or is the extra utility that you are getting after you consume extra unit. So it's an extra satisfaction that you are getting after extra unit of a certain product or of a certain service. That is marginal utility. And we are getting it by taking the change of total utility over change of unit consumed. Then we have law of diminishing marginal utility. So utility as the satisfaction that is said is obtained when you consume something. And then after you add another thing, then the extra utility will be added. That is the marginal utility. So we can use this diagram to explain the law of diminishing marginal utility. So as you can see here, here we have units and here we have utility. As you increase unit, the utility will be increasing. So as you start here, you'll be increasing the consumption of a certain unit, and then the utility will be increasing. So your total utility will be utility 1 plus utility 2. Why? Because you added extra unit. And from here also you can calculate marginal utility, because each extra unit added, there is extra unit of utility increased. But it will reach a point whereby there is no much increase in marginal utility as you consume a certain product, and that we say there is a diminishing marginal utility. You wanted to consume a Coca-Cola, then you had the first one. Then the second one, it will add satisfaction. But the third one, the satisfaction to be added will decrease. It won't be the same as the first one. So even the time that you did a water, maybe you can take 1 glass of water. Then the second glass of water, it can be half. The first one was full, but the second one, it can be half. And then you might need maybe the last one, but it won't be even a half. So it will be smaller than that. Why? Because the satisfaction obtained from the first glass is different from the additional satisfaction that is coming to be obtained from the second glass and the third glass. Unless for marginal utility to be increased, then the price should go down. So if the price for the Coca-Cola is 500, then for me to add more Coca-Cola, then at least maybe for Coca-Cola price to go down below 500, maybe 300, then I'll be willing to add more Coca-Cola and I'll be satisfied. More than if they sell me with the same price, 500. Why? Because I'll be using much money. The first one I use 500, the second one I'm going to use 500. That means I'm using 1,000 to satisfy this want or this need. While I could only use one and then be enough. So if they can give me discount here, maybe they can sell for me 200, then I'll be willing maybe to buy the second one, then the satisfaction could be higher than selling me at 500. So simply, this law of diminishing marginal utility explains that the satisfaction of consuming a certain commodity will be decreasing, the marginal satisfaction will be decreasing as you consume more units. The equi marginal principle. This principle explains that a consumer is at a position whereby he cannot add satisfaction by replacing good one with another good. So the sacrificing the product A by getting the other product B won't add satisfaction to this consumer. So consumer is rational by understanding that. So we can use this diagram to explain that. So maybe you have two goods. You have good A and good B. And this is PPC curve, by the way, production possibility curve. So in this, when you are at this position at A, you have 14 of good A, but 0 of good B. So one can decide to move from point A to point B, whereby this table here can help us. So at point A, he had 14 good A and 0 of good B. But this time, when he moved from point A to point B, that means he's sacrificing 2 units of A to add more unit of B. Why? Because there is a limit of resources. So you must sacrificing the other one so that you can gain with the other one. So the same here, if you are at this point here, point B, you have 0 of good A, but you have 8 of good B. The same, you can decide to move from point D to point C, but here you'll be sacrificing good B to increase good A. So in any case, but there is a point here whereby it will be the equi marginal principal point. So there is a point where a consumer will be rational that from this point, it can be here, it can be here. From that point, he cannot change the position because the change won't add any satisfaction. The increase of one commodity by sacrificing the other one won't add any satisfaction. And at that point it will be the point of the equi marginal principle. And at that point we say that marginal utility of A over price of A will be equal to marginal utility of B over price B, etc. Okay, so equi marginal principle is based on the following assumptions. Assumption number 1, consumer have limited incomes. As I tried to explain through here, through this diagram, this line is showing the limit or the budget line to show that you cannot attain anything at this area. So you can only attain from this line and from this side. So it's showing that consumers, they have limited incomes. So because their income, they are scarce, or their resource is scarce, that means they have to sacrifice one so that they can gain the other one. That is number 1. Number 2, consumer will always be in a rational manner. That means consumer, they understand, they are aware of what is happening. Like they are aware that at this point they cannot add any utility, because the aim of consumer usual, or the need of consumer usually is to maximize utility. Now at this point, consumer will be aware that at this point I won't maximize any utility if I exchange one commodity with the other commodity. The last one is consumer seek to maximize their utility. Derivation of an individual demand curve. So we can understand this well by using the concept of marginal utility. If you remember, we said that a consumer is willing to buy more of unit and the satisfaction will increase more if the price for that commodity decreases. There is where the satisfaction is added. If the price is the same, the consumer won't be willing much to buy more of that commodity because he will be adding something which is not satisfying much, because as he add more units, the satisfaction or the marginal utility will be decreasing. So as to increase consumption or to increase satisfaction, the price of the commodity should go down so as to increase marginal utility. And that is what is happening here. If you see here at this point, the price is A, and then the quantity to be consumed is 3. So when the price drops from 2 to 1, then the consumption can increase from 3 to 5. Why? Because there is increase in satisfaction. The marginal utility there increase. That's why people, they will be more willing to purchase more when the price is 1. Let's do a little bit math. So when the price is 2 and the product consumed was 3, then we say 2, which is price per product, times 3, we get C. So the cost is 6. But for this one here, when the price is 1 times 5 units, we get 5. So here, when price is 1, one can consume 5 items, but is using only 5. But here, he's consuming only 3 items, but he's going to use 6. Okay, so the last part is limitation of equi marginal principle and limitation of marginal utility. So they both show that consumer, they have limited income, which is not the case. Not most of the time that consumers' income are limited. So, but also it's showing that consumer will always behave in the rational manner, which is also not the case. Not always that they are rational, and most of the time consumer, they are not rational. They cannot understand this is the point whereby I should not increase commodity A by decreasing commodity B because there is no any additional satisfaction. It's very hard for consumer to understand that. But also the last one, consumer seeks to maximize utility. Sometimes consumer, they are just dealing with their taste, fashion. They do not seek to maximize profit. They just want to be satisfied at that time only.